John here, DV Watt in the forums, and welcome to episode 12 of Meet the Sportsracers, an opportunity to get to know the folks who populate the forums at zafrank.com just a little bit better. In this episode, we revisit the incomparable Lee Hall of Lost Marble Media, the artist responsible for the animation sequences of many of Zafrank's videos. In this part 2 of our two-part interview, Lee answers Sportsracers' questions as we delve into dream worlds, explore artistic tenacity, and discuss Las Vegas, but not really. If you missed part 1 of this interview, you can see it by clicking right here. And if you're new to this series and want to catch up with earlier episodes, you can check out this YouTube playlist going all the way back to episode 1. If you're viewing on a mobile device or with a YouTube viewer that doesn't support embedded links, you can find the links in the video description along with more information about this project. So read up, jump on board, and hopefully we'll see you around in the forums. And with that, here's episode 12. Are you open to taking some questions from Sports Racers?
Absolutely.
Let's go ahead and jump on in. This first question comes from Hells Bells, and Hells Bells asks, how did you meet Zay? Was it ever in real life or through various projects online?
Not in real life, unfortunately. That would have been cool. And as I mentioned, I didn't even get to talk to the guy on Skype. I don't know what happened, actually. We were going to speak, and then we just didn't. So it's all been email.
Okay.
But so I haven't really met Zay any more than anybody else. But I do talk to him semi-regularly through email.
Okay.
So
we already spoke a little bit about the further questions from Hells Bells about had you met since the show or did you know each other before? And we kind of addressed that earlier in context of your communication. So we can move on to the next question if you're cool. This is from Scott Moore. This is from Odd Job, who asks, what is the source of your tenacity in pursuing your career as an artist?
Source of my tenacity. That is such a weird question. Actually, if you'd asked me that and you'd said who sent it, I would have said Odd Job, without a doubt. I would say that I like absurdity, and the chance to make something absurd. I used to have this thing when I was a kid where I used to have piles of just blank paper. My dad used to actually steal it from his work and bring me piles and piles of it. And I used to just sit and draw every day. And I couldn't get by a day without drawing something. Later on, it was animating something. I used to animate the roadrunner getting killed by a wily coyote over and over again. And eventually, it's got to this point where I have to create something every day. And with that in mind, I had to work in that kind of market where I could create something, even if it is client work. And it isn't that creative, more of a process. But just to build something. So I think it comes, I don't know if it's tenacity or more of a need to make something.
Okay.
If I don't make something for a few days, I get serious withdrawal from it.
Oh, you get edgy and you need to exercise that energy. Do you have any individuals, any personalities in popular culture that were an inspiration for you in getting involved with this?
No. Actually, I don't know where it comes from. I have no idea. No, it's just grew organically. I remember being as young as about 10, and I used to get VCRs and hook them up and edit clips together and then dub music over the top and things like that. So it's kind of just grown from that. It's not something I really picked up or been inspired to do. It's just kind of grown organically, I guess.
Looking at your work, even from your client perspective, I've seen some of your client pieces. And it's all very unique. And yet, well, I wonder if maybe any of the Monty Python and Flying Circus, animations might have at some point been part of what kind of put that idea in your head with those little tidbits that kind of flow up there. And of course, they're a homemade recipe from your own part of the world. So
yeah, I grew up with Monty Python. So
yeah.
I guess whether I know it or not, it's embedded in there and it comes out. I mean, one of the most recent dreams had the Monty Python foot squashing my logo.
That's exactly right. Just coming out at the very end, and it's
yeah, it was the Hank Green dream.
Yeah, right.
And that whole thing had a little bit of Monty Python threaded through it. I think it was weird, odd.
It kind of makes me wonder how many people who of maybe the next upcoming generation of artists are going to be influenced by your own work. The people that are very involved in the forums. It skews pretty heavily into the creative. And might be some folks who are figuring out ways to exercise their own art. Might be seeing what you're doing and thinking, "Wow, I want to get involved in something like that." I'm sure that's going to be the case at some point.
I hope so.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I would seriously hope so.
Good. I mean, that's kind of a weight for you to bear. You're inspiring people, as scary as that might be, with your own absurdity and weirdness. So, so take that as a compliment, though. I think it's great. Next question comes from Sassy Pants. Have you ever tried to animate your own dream, or to get it to look exactly like it did in your head?
I have 2, in fact. One of them features me in it with a giant head. And I wasn't going to use it for the show, but Zay posted it anyway because he said he liked it. And I think I don't know what it was. He had this thing where he really wanted to post it, and I told him it was just a bonus dream. Because the dream was actually me falling asleep while thinking about how to animate dreams, and so it influenced the dream. And so this dream's out there, and he put it on one week. It was the one where I vomited color, and Lego was falling from the sky. And it was basically influenced by trying to think of what to do with the dreams. So I made that almost to throw up as a bonus on my own YouTube channel, but he wanted to use it.
Okay.
I have some really, really grotesque dreams, and I've wondered whether or not I could venture into animating them, but I want to do everybody else's first. The bonus one was never meant there, but I've already done one of mine, and I felt a bit guilty about that. I thought I've got to focus on other people. So, I've got 200 of theirs I want to get through first before I venture back into my own. It might scare people anyway if I do mine.
Well, maybe, but gosh, it sounds like a lot of fun. So I think that's awesome. Sassy Pants continues to ask, now, what film do you think exhibits the best cinematic representation of dreams?
What film?
Yeah.
Well, I have no idea.
I'm thinking about dreams in films. I guess some of the ones that immediately come to mind could be like What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams, or most recently Inception, which is a really different take on manipulating dreams within a dream in a film. If you've ever seen any of those,
it's not a dream, but he's high the whole time throughout the movie, which is kind of a dream. But Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Oh,
if you've ever seen that, with
I have. Yeah.
That is a weird movie. And especially if you drink first and then watch that, you get a trippy kind of dream feeling from it.
That is an excellent answer, because you know what? Based on your own personality and what I'm seeing, it really is, okay, it's tying some stuff together.
It's one of my favorite movies ever. So,
have you ever been out here to the States?
I have, for quite a while, actually. Just the northern states, though. I went New York, Boston, New Jersey, Philadelphia, those kind of places.
Yeah. So never Las Vegas.
No. It never took my fancy to go to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I much prefer New York.
And you're also probably used to a cooler climate where you're from, and Las Vegas is nothing like that at all.
I don't take well to heat.
Yeah. Final question from Sassy Pants before we move on to the last one. She asks, how do you get out of a rut and start creating when you are feeling uninspired? And in a sense, you kind of mentioned that a little bit, but how would you answer that question?
There's a few different ways. There's some really boring ones, like leave the room and go for a walk, something like that. Go buy a coffee somewhere. But for the most part, it's making something completely the opposite of whatever I'm doing. So if I'm doing boring client work, then I'll go do a dream. Before the dreams, it was just making really, really weird clips, just absurd animation that wasn't based on anything. So it's not venturing too far from what I'm already doing because it's animation, but just letting your imagination go crazy, I guess. Sometimes it's doodling as well, just picking up a piece of paper and a pen.
Yeah.
The absolute best way to get out of a rut is taking a shower, actually, because your brain goes into autopilot. Most people can't remember what to do in the shower. You go in and sometimes you think, did I wash my hair or did I not? Or you pick up the soap and start to wash your hair because you're on autopilot.
Right.
At least I do these things. I don't know if everybody does it, but and it activates a part of your brain that problem solves, much in the same way you do when you're asleep. So I often find if you're in a rut and you can't think of something, go and do something really mundane. Take a shower, take a walk. You come back and problems usually solve itself.
That's excellent advice. I've always had the best ideas I've ever had have been coming exactly through that same way. So You're on to something there. You should write a book. Actually, what you should do is maybe do a short series of Dreams of Elijah. You should probably try to imagine what your newborn is dreaming about right now and animate that.
I kind of know because he does the same facial expressions he does when he's awake. So he seems to sleep. He tends to dream about pooping or feeding because he does the motions with his mouth for feeding and he strains like he's pooping.
Okay, so. yeah. It's basically, what is it? It's an expression of the limited experiences so far of his young life.
Yeah, it's fascinated me actually when I saw him dreaming on day one, and I thought, with no grasp on reality whatsoever, what on earth is he dreaming about?
Yeah.
Because he was whimpering and freaking out, and I was thinking he can only be dreaming of being born because it's the only thing that's happened. Which was probably traumatic enough to make him have a nightmare about it. But I do wonder what they dream about. So,
final question comes from Jekka. And Jekka asked, actually, before even asking, Jekka makes this comment, says, "You seem like an incredibly creative and talented person." And I'm just going to let you just bask in that for just a moment. But you must also be human too, just like the rest of us. So has there ever been a time when you had a brilliant creative idea that did not come to fruition as you had hoped?
Yeah, billions of them. Yeah, especially with dreams, actually. There's loads and loads of dream files that I've only gotten so far, or have been scrapped altogether and started again. Because the styles don't work, or it's just too out there, or it's too scary. Or I know for a fact Zay'll say I can't use this. It's,
Oh, has that ever happened?
It's kind of, yeah, he sent me a message about dreams I picked saying we can't use this. And there's a few times where I've sort of mentioned things and he's went, not really. Let's not use that. There is a dream actually that he's held on to because he doesn't want to use it yet. Says it doesn't fit right. So that could be a failed creative attempt, I guess. But absolutely loads of them, lots of projects. But yeah, lots of times that happens. Too much for me to actually recall, really.
Well, I won't make you dig into that and bring up any old memories of yeah, I'll just leave that one alone. But how do you get those creative juices flowing again after being discouraged through something like that?
I actually don't mind messing something up. Because, to be honest, I think Sir Frank said once that he likes the last part of a project. I think when he gets to the 80% mark and it's almost finished and he's just polishing it up.
Yeah.
For me, I like the beginning. The beginning part is the fun part where I'm messing around, finding something new. Once I've got that, I kind of want to just scrap it, don't bother finishing it and move into something else. So the failed ones are actually fun for me. It just means that I don't have to bother committing to them anymore. I can dump it and move on. So I actually prefer them in some ways. Which is why I like the dreams, because I'm there 5 minutes creating them and then, move, well, not literally 5 minutes, but I'm there for a short time with them. It's not much work and I can move on, do something different. So the failures aren't bad at all. They're actually pretty good practice.
You like jumping into a newly opened field of pure potential without, that's great. That's exciting. Yeah. Well, that wraps up the questions that we have for that segment. Lee, do you have anything else that you'd like to offer or to add, or just throw in there your own bits of wisdom for today?
Wisdom? I have no wisdom. And I've got nothing to pimp, really. LostMarbleMedia.com, my website. I do have a dreams page on there. I will be making a dreams-based website with loads of extra stuff on it when I can get around to it. And nothing else that I can actually pimp at the moment.
You have a Twitter account you post to every now and again.
At Lost Marble Media.
At Lost Marble Media on Twitter. People can follow you there if they want to know kind of what you're up to, whether that's being a project you're working on, something you posted, or as of an example from last week, being out to dinner, as I recall. Lee's out eating right now. Good for him.
Sounds about right. I think actually that was an accident. That was meant to be posted on a different account. I think it was part of a conversation, and I realized I clicked the wrong button and it went out on my business account. So,
well, your clients, of course, will be pleased to know that you're taking care of yourself, too.
Probably.
Yeah. And of course, also, we can always find you on the forums as InvisibleMan.
I don't get on there as much as I'd like to.
But when you do, you make it count. And it's always nice to be able to chat with you and see what you're up to there. And so definitely I encourage any of our sports racers to go ahead and look Lee up as InvisibleMan or follow him at Lost Marble Media. and see what he's up to. And of course, we'll be continuing to looking forward to your dream animation sequences as they come out. And even if they come out as a little bit disturbing, well, that makes it all the more fun.
And one last thing is I'm trying to start up Picture It Place properly again. I've tried, you talked about failed projects. Picture It Place was definitely one of them. Other people are trying to carry it, but it just isn't catching on. And I'm going to change the rules and probably create a little home for it somewhere, a little website or something.
Okay.
But I've mentioned this in the forums. There's a thread on there already. So.
Right. I was following that, so look forward to
First one is going to be something about putting food in your face.
Oh, yes, you mentioned that, putting food on your face. You said everybody has a face, everybody has food. We can make it work.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Easy.
Right on. Well, Lee, thank you very much. Looking forward to that. And everybody get on board and see what's going on with Lee over at Lost Moral Media and InvisibleMan. And get ready to put some food on your face, and we'll all have some fun. Cool.
All right, thank you.
Lee, thanks very much for being here today, and we'll see you in the forums.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
Take care.